Assalamualaikum, selamat tengah hari, salam sejahtera. Welcome to Grad 1 Live. Today, first of all, I would like to thank all of you for participating in this session. And today we are from Synthomer, and we are going to share with you the insights of the Synthomer Graduate Training Program. So with me, let me introduce myself first. I'm Nora. I'm responsible for HR in Asia. And with me, I have four amazing people. They are Seng Wee, who is from operations. Noreen is a graduate trainee from procurement. We have Jack is graduated from the graduate trainee and he is from commercial. And the last but not least is Veda is a graduate trainee from finance. So today, before we proceed, let me introduce about Synthomer. I'm sure all of you, or most of you, have not about Synthomer. Synthomer is a chemical company and is one of the world's major suppliers of latex and specialty emulsion polymers. We support leadership position in many market segments like synthetic latex gloves, textile, paper, carpet, construction, and that's just to name a few. Our headquarters is in London, and we have presence in 24 countries with significant presence in Europe, United States, as well as Middle East and Asia. So in Malaysia in particular, our regional office in Kuala Lumpur, and we have sites in Johor and one in Pasir Gudang as well in Keluang. So the company is listed on the stock exchange in UK, and we employ globally about 5,000 employees. So a little bit about Synthomer graduate program. You're going to learn a lot from these ladies and gentlemen, but the purpose of this program is to get the talent to accelerate career progression on the global stage. This program open to all fresh graduates or those who have less than 2 years of experience, and the program is 2 years with 6 to 8 months rotation. There are tracks of operationals and also non-operationals, and what we can offer is the project assignment, structured development. We have opportunity for international assignment as well as a lot of exposure with management. And we started this program 3 years ago, so this is going to be our 4th year. So we have these four people here. Both Jack and Sengwi have graduated from the program, and Nurin and Verda has just joined us this year for the program. So let's get to know them and for them to share a little bit about their story. So before that, let them share a little bit background about themselves and how long have you been in the company. So can we start with Sengwi, please?
So as mentioned, thank you, Dr. Nora. As mentioned, my name is Sengwi. What I've been through 2 years of the graduate program. Recently graduated about 6 months ago. I previously did mechanical engineering in the University of Sheffield, as well as, and then I was attached to 4 different rotations throughout the program itself, which includes like a skip even within sales and even within like business continuity plan development for one of our plants. So, and I'm currently attached to operations under reliability.
Thank you, Sengwi. What about you, Nurin?
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Nurin Aisyah binti Muhammad Suhardi. You can call me Nurin. I'm the procurement/commercial graduate trainee in Synthomer. I've been with Synthomer a little over 9 months now since I started this year. But in my university days, I studied in Monash University as a chemical engineering graduate.
All right. Jack?
And me, Jack. Yeah, so I'm Jack. Graduated from University of Nottingham 2017. Chemical engineering, but right now I'm doing sales with the Functional Solutions business unit. So yeah, it's been almost 3 years and I've completed a graduate trainee program for 2 years and now 9 months in doing the sales role. Yep.
Right. So hi everyone, my name is Veda Valigan, just Veda for short. I'm right now the finance graduate trainee within the finance department. I've been also together with Nurin a little over 9 months with the company right now. So before this, I was in Heriot-Watt University and I did my master's degree in accounting and business finance.
Okay, thank you, Veda. So let's hear from Veda. Please share your journey working in Synthomer.
Right. So when I first started, in Synthomer, I didn't expect it to within the finance department to have such a practical approach. So during my first rotation, it was with the accounts payable team. So when you think of accounts payable, it's very repetitive, very routine work, but that's not the case at all. So immediately when I came in, so my manager actually took me aside and then started working on the implementation of this travel and expense management system. So that was really great to actually work alongside with him, from the configuration process to the user acceptance and right up to, becoming a super user myself and also, supporting supporting the Concur team throughout Asia. And other than that, so I've also been exposed to a lot of to produce a lot of reports that previously wasn't there. So that also was quite new to me. So when your manager comes in and starts telling you, okay, come and go ahead and produce a report all of a sudden. So it did take a lot of work, analyzing through what's been done before and everything. But it was a really great experience. And then right now I'm in my second rotation with the financial accountants. So that is a bit more of a technical role, but to really make the learning process go ahead a bit faster, I've been given an entity to look after. So I'll be doing a month-end procedure, month-end accounting work for an entity for starting this month. So wow. Yeah, and also it's not all work. It's because I'm also part of the RSC committee, the sports, recreational and sports committee. So you do have a lot of fun activities that you help plan out apart from doing work. So yeah, it's been a really great experience so far with Synthomer.
A lot of work-life balance.
Right, yeah, work-life balance, exactly.
So we hear from Veda and let's hear from Jack.
Yeah, so since it's been 3 years, so I'll cut it shorter a little bit. So I started out as a commissioning engineer. So I was in the operations track for the whole thing, and that's how I went on with commissioning first. So as a chemical engineer, commissioning is actually a really, really good experience because we were commissioning a whole entire expansion from the start to the finish. So usually an engineer will only get a commissioning experience of one particular component, one particular system, while here we are commissioning the whole system. So that was like a bizarre experience. And then secondly, I started in commercial. That was my second rotation, commercial, doing sales, marketing. I was given like proper accounts. I had to do customer visits. I have to give quotations for like $1 million sales revenue type of business. And that was between 2 different business units. So that was a lot of good commercial exposure. And then after that, I was doing projects. So I actually had to manage projects in all 4 plants. So Kluang, QP, MST, EPG. Every single plant I had a project in. The project averaged about 10 million ringgit per project. So that was like a lot of responsibilities on my shoulder. And I really thank Synthomer for giving me the opportunity, because it's not easy for a graduate to be trusted with a project that is so large in scale and importance, especially on the safety aspects. Yeah, and then lastly, I was the only one actually able to travel to the UK, as well as all the plants in, a few plants in Germany as well as Austria, to conduct some plant trials. That is to conduct some process improvement, operational improvement, and I was working alongside with all the site team, the team in the UK plant, as well as expanding my network throughout most of the headquarters in Europe as well. So that was a really, really good experience. And in the end, following my traits, my attributes, and my strengths, in the end, I joined the sales team for functional solutions. So right now, I'm actually managing about a 15 million ringgit portfolio, moving around the whole of Malaysia, Penang, Johor, Central, doing mainly construction and coatings businesses. Yeah.
Good opportunity that you had.
Yeah, exactly.
In overseas.
Yep.
I remember we had dinner in London.
Yeah, exactly. That was all before COVID.
That was all, yeah. Okay. Moving on to Noreen, can you share which aspect of your work do you enjoy the most in Synthomer?
Okay, so there's a lot of really good opportunities that was given to me from the start of the graduate program. But one thing that really stuck out to me, especially as a fresh graduate, is the leadership culture in Synthomer. What I find is that the top level management is very accessible and very approachable. And you get to work one-on-one alongside with them to work on real life problems that are actually impacting the company. So to be given that level of responsibility / trust has been a really wonderful learning experience for me. And to have like a very experienced leader and experienced manager to guide you through it has also been a big plus point that I think is not an opportunity that a lot of fresh grads get. So that's definitely been the biggest part of this program that I've enjoyed.
Oh, thank you, Noreen. What about you, Singwi?
Well, for me, I think it's more of like, as mentioned by Noreen, like our organization is very, I would say, a very flat structure. Like everyone's very accessible, very easily. You can talk to them, speak to them, ask for advice. One thing that I would really want to emphasize on is like when you are willing to learn, there will be no one that will want to push you away if you're willing to learn. But you just have to speak up, seek the opportunity for yourself, and most importantly, do not be too shy, because they are always willing to teach you. And I think that is something that, I mean, back in my time 2 years ago, like 2.5 years ago, it's something that a fresh grad really required. And then you just have to be not that shy, go around, disturb a few people, and then you can get your information, you can get your learning. Very, very good, I'll say, opportunity for us.
Oh, good. Is there any particular moment or memory that stands out for you, Singwi?
Well, for me, I think it's more of a surprise, but I think 8 months into the program, we actually had an opportunity to present to the board of directors, which when HR actually engaged us to it, we was like, I mean, I think shock was my first feeling, and then like after that, honor just came on. But oh yes, definitely. Like we had, I think we spent quite some time like working on the slides, and then like because it's the board of directors coming from the UK, I think was at the end towards one of our expansion projects.
Right.
So presenting like regarding the program itself, our learning like the past 8 months regarding what we have learned, how the program has been to us, as well as how do we feel about the program itself, was a very, very good opportunity for us. And the board of directors actually paid a very high interest on what we feeling, and they really are very interested to know on what we are doing as well as learning. So I think that was a very memorable moment for me, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Jack?
Yeah, so for my memorable moment, I think because it's more everything that has been shared before, it's a lot about the people, about how accessible the people are and things like that. So my question is, what do you think the general stereotype of Germans are? They are usually like more direct and straightforward and not too friendly. So during my actual time in Pischelsdorf, even though it's Austria, it's similar culture to Germany as well. So I didn't expect that much hospitality. So I had to actually be in a plant almost about 9 to 10 hours a day, ranging from like 6 a.m. to say like 8 p.m. or all the way late into the night because I was running some plant trials. So that's like 11 p.m., 12 a.m. I'm still in the plant and doing trials. So what was most memorable to me was because I was there for a whole week and I will spend the weekend in Austria, Pischelsdorf, which is a very small town. There may not be a lot of things to do if I were to look online for it, but the plant people, while they are not well versed in English, they were still trying really hard to actually get me things to do during the weekend. So while I was sitting there doing my own stuff, and then they were like, hey, do you have anything to do on the weekend? In very broken English. But with my broken German, I had to say, yeah, what do you have to recommend and things like that. So they actually gave me a whole list of restaurants, list of events that's happening and where to go and things like that throughout the whole weekend. So I was actually quite occupied that weekend as well. So that was a really memorable experience. I don't think it's something that, I think it's usually taken for granted, like things like this, but it's really memorable for me that people actually take effort to go beyond their boundaries, knowing that it's going to be limited communication, but still share their experience.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Very lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to ask about the memory for Vida and Nurin because you have been here only for 9 months. But I want to ask, I'm going to ask that what was your biggest challenge in Synthomer? How did you overcome that? Can I start with Nurin?
Sure. So for me, I would say within the first 3 months when I started working, I was 3 or 4 months, I already was given, I would say, quite a big project to deal with a regional tender for the company. So the fact that there were so many, within that regional tender, within that project, there were a lot of stakeholders that I had to liaise with, I had to manage, and I had to persuade. Those were all very new things and new skills that I had to develop. And in the beginning, it was quite daunting to have to, approach all these people. First, that I've never met. Secondly, they are often senior executives or, again, top-level management. So there was obviously a layer of insecurity or like hesitance to go there. There was not much courage, but because of my manager's guidance and manager's encouragement and whatnot, slowly but surely, I built the confidence and also built the capabilities to tackle whatever issues that came with stakeholder management. So for me, the biggest part was to liaise with different departments, because what I learned is during this project, every department has their own priorities, has their own KPIs. So to make sure that you meet your end goal while at the same time meeting other people's end goal was definitely a very fine beam to balance. And it's still something that I'm developing, but with a lot of guidance and with a lot of conscious practice, I was slowly able to overcome it and eventually learn a lot from the whole project.
Yeah, amazing. Being a chemical engineering background,
correct,
and now you are in procurement, so it's amazing that you'll be able to adapt to the new environment.
Yeah, for me, I think with being an engineering student, there's a lot of transferable soft skills as an engineer to any commercial role.
Right.
And being in Synthomer, a chemical company, it definitely does allow you to exercise a lot of your, not only exercise, but also improve a lot of the necessary skills required for you to excel further in your career, in whichever role you may be. So it's been a really good 9 months so far, I would say, and a lot of good exposure.
Okay, let's hear from Veda. What
Alright.
about your challenges?
Right, so I think my biggest challenge was that coming into the rotation, the first three months, I think it was, we went into MCO.
Yeah.
So we all had to start working from home, and especially finance. I don't think finance has ever done, working remotely before, doing closing and all these things, and still coming in and quite fresh. I still had to learn up from all the other team members. So since they were not too familiar with working from home, how's the process and everything, like communication was really difficult. So, and working on reports with my manager. So sometimes I don't know what my manager has in mind, you see. So it was really difficult, and I was actually really scared to keep on calling up people and asking them. So that was really, I was really scared to approach my managers and all my other colleagues. But then even throughout the MCO, I think my directors and my managers, they always kept in contact with me. So they will just schedule a meeting, like a short catch-up session. So it really it really helped show that it really helped show that they are actually really willing to talk to me. They're they're willing to help. So from then on, I was actually able to just schedule short meetings with my colleagues and everyone, and they were so willing to give me a call, maybe even in the middle of the night. They were still working, so just giving a call and making sure that everything is all right. And so I was able to get through that, and also it was a boost, a confidence booster, because it's really important to actually go ahead and ask whenever you don't know something. So that phase was really an eye opener for me, so I could actually work on those more like challenges that I had.
Yeah, thank you. I realized that there's a lot of challenges during MCO, and I'm glad that all of us are making time to engage with our team, right? Okay, this question is for all of you, because I'm sure that you have different perspective. What do you think about this program? So can I start with Verda?
Right. So this program, it's very different because coming from an accounting and finance background, most of the first thing I would think of is actually going into financial services, audit and all these things. But then when I actually came into here, I saw a really, a steeper learning curve over here. So you actually get a more practical approach. Everything's not handed out to you just like that. So they don't focus on the theories. So they give you work to do. So they make sure that you learn from it. And so that's a really an amazing portion. And getting to actually help organize activities. Me and Nurin, we actually helped organize the International Women's Day. So that was a really fun event that we managed to pull off, and everyone was happy, and it was really satisfying when we actually saw everyone else's really good feedback. So so this program has been really great so far.
All right. What about you, Jack?
So the whole program is actually structured from the 70-20-10 whole learning experience, where 70% is experiential, 20% is training, development. 20% is
experiential learning.
Yep, 20% is training.
20% is more on relationships. So
Relationships, and 10% is training.
Right.
Yep, I got that screwed up. But yeah, so
you graduated.
yes, that's why I forgot. I should enroll back. Right, so the 70% actually comes in a lot of ways, because there is different rotations where you actually learn throughout the whole, through various rotations, you actually go through different departments and see how the whole company actually works together. So how production actually is supported by projects, how projects is supported by, say, commissioning, how commissioning actually get the plant ready and go on to that to sales and things like that. So your network will actually grow a lot, which comes to the 20%. And throughout the whole 2 years as well, you'll be piled up in a good way with training programs as well, say like soft skills, how to manage people and things like that. So all of it gives a complete package throughout this whole 2 years that allow you to actually jumpstart to your career, and it gives you a really good foundation on how you want to build it forward. Yep.
Yeah, okay. Let's hear from you, Nuri.
Okay, so I'm just going to echo what Veda and Jack has said, because yes, we all went through the same program, so we have similar learnings to it, but the one thing that I would emphasize on is the exposure. And why I emphasize so much on it is because I don't think it's something that you would get as a fresh grad that often. So this program has really allowed you to get a lot of exposure from not only your executive level, but also senior level exposure. And it's not just through networking, it's also through experience, functional training and non-functional training.
Yeah.
And all this exposure really does make you feel like you are learning so much, and you start to see like all the skills that you sort of learn in university, all the knowledge that you learn in university, you can really start to apply them now, and you can really start to work on the areas of improvement that you would not have realized that you needed to improve on if not for this experience and not for the exposure. So I would say this program, the big thing is exposure. That's for me.
Oh, good, yeah. Seng Wee, let's hear from you.
Saving the best for last. Or should I say,
Yes.
can I just echo everything they just said?
Nice.
But if I may further emphasize, I would say like the rotation that was designed for us, I think every rotation, the top management, they do kind of depend on what suits you the most and like what learning they feel that you really require. They give you that particular rotation, of course subjected to your own personal feel as well as choice. But looking back 2 years from what I've been through, I think that really helped me grow into like what I am now. Like the knowledge that I would have lacked 2 years before, I definitely have a touch of it, of a basic knowledge of what I need to know, especially like since I'm from a mechanical background. But I've actually been in operational support function before, so that really bridged the gap between my background as well as my current job, which is more to the whole operational team and like how each process function and stuff like that. So I would say that the program, like they kind of tailor-made the rotations for you, and I really appreciate that from my point of view.
Okay.
Saving the best for last.
All right. Just want to make sure that you are not the last.
Yeah.
So, how has the company changed you?
Right. Well, I would say that previously you can call me more of like an introvert, I would say, and then like
You are an introvert? I don't believe it.
that's how the company has changed me. I mean, I would say that in terms of like teamwork, working cross functions, communication skills, all of these, even presentation style, that one I really, I think that one was really top there in terms of like how the company changed me, as well as finally time management, because I would say that when we are recruited, we are not recruited to do meaningless job. It's always something that will provide value to the company. And within that role, normally you have 1001 things to do in a day and stuff like that. So time management, people management, as well as like communication skill really takes a key in like how we move on from our day-to-day lives. And I would say it's actually applicable back home sometimes. So yeah, I think that's what really changed me as since I joined the program.
Good. What about you, Nurin?
Okay.
How has the company changed you?
Changed me. I think it's because of, again, the level of exposure I've gotten. I realized that over time, my confidence level has improved a lot. In the beginning, there were a lot of doubts because all the projects that you give, as Sengmi mentioned, the company will not give you, I wouldn't say meaningless, but the company wouldn't give you something just for the sake of the program. Every task or every problem, every work that is given to you is something that is a real life thing that's impacting the company. So because of that level of pressure, obviously to make any decisions, and by the way, you will be given a lot of responsibility to make the calls, to make the decisions. There are times when I go to my manager and I've done all this review and I'm like, okay, there's option A, B, C, please decide. And there are often times my manager is like, it's your call. So to be given that level of pressure is, again, at first it's shock, stress, and then honor. So the three stages. But because of that, because we were given that much responsibility, over time you train yourself to have more faith in yourself, to I have more confidence in decision making. So confidence is also one thing. The second thing is also to be more proactive. Sometimes you can't just solve a problem when it's presented to you. Sometimes you have to think bigger than a graduate trainee. That's what I find to be my gap. Because at times when we're being given a certain task and you view it and you approach it as a graduate trainee, that's usually not what the expectation is. You have to think one level higher. You have to think like how your manager is thinking, because a lot of the times, especially for me, I get to work very closely to my senior level management. So a lot of the times when we're communicating with them, we have to think how they think. So because of a lot of this practice and training with them, it does tweak and improve my confidence level and also my proactiveness, I would say. That's how the company has treated me so far for these past 9 months. Check again next year.
Okay. What about you, Jack?
How the company has changed me? Good question. So basically, I think the main change comes from my engineering background, moving into sales and commercial. So that was a career path that I wouldn't have thought that I would have taken, especially when during university, all I was looking for was an engineering role and doing engineering work and going on further and further and further, planning my whole 5-year plan following an engineering career. So I think that the two rotations in commercial actually gave me a good perspective of, hey, this is what I enjoy and this is what can pay my bills as well. So I don't see what's limiting me from it. And with the opportunity given by the company as well, and with them recognizing my strengths in holding commercial conversations, making the marketing, and going through all the commercial negotiations and stuff like that, they actually gave me the role, and I'm really thankful for that. I think that really literally changed my life from being an engineer to a commercial person. And now I'm doing what I like and I'm paying my bills.
So your friends must be very surprised that Jack.
Everyone was shocked.
Commercial? Jack? You
Yes,
Jack?
exactly. So yeah, I'm having a lot of fun as well through this role, and yeah, that's good.
Okay. So I'm glad that that things change for you. And what about you?
Right. So even before starting the program and everything, so I'm actually generally a very quiet and very reserved person. So it's very difficult for me. I get stage fright whenever I speak. It's very difficult for me to give presentations and everything. But then ever since coming into this rotation, I've again, like Noreen said, I've been able to work with higher, the senior management. So whenever I present them with my reports, every month-end reports, or even with the implementation of the system that we were working on earlier this year. So we had to liaise with the external companies from the UK. So even the timing difference is sometimes my manager actually just leaves the whole meeting over to me, just hands it over to me, and I have to present them with the problems and what sort of solutions that we're looking for. All these things, just like how to handle a meeting and giving presentations and everything. So it's really helped me build my confidence. And building this confidence, it's really changed me into it's made it become easier for me to talk to people, and it's actually it really helps with my soft skills actually.
It's living proof. She's doing this right now. She actually agreed to do this. Yeah.
That's
right.
That's 9
I like
months
what you say. It's like shock, stress, honor, and our confidence.
Yes,
That's the journey. That's
Full circle, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so any words or advice or tips, just a quick one, just on those who are interested to apply for the program? Maybe just I can get Noreen to say.
Okay, so depending on who's watching, if you are already graduated and you're in the job hunting process and you still have extra time on your hands, I would say maybe brush up on your management skills or take up a free online course. There are plenty of sources out there just to sharpen your skills even more, to prepare yourself and give yourself more of an advantage. through the assessment process of this program. But if you're still a student in your final year or penultimate year, then you still have ample of time to rampen up your CV. So do join a lot of extracurricular activities that can give you more experience to improve your leadership skills, presentation skills, confidence and whatnot. Because I think for the most part, your soft skills are the one that's most key in this program rather than your functional skills or whatever function that you decide to go in. So yeah, depending on who you are, that's my advice for you. All the best.
All right. What about you, Veda?
Right.
What tips do you have for them?
So I think the key here is to ask. So when I mean ask, even if you're a student right now, if you're not looking to apply for the graduate program, or even if you're applying to the graduate program, you can always reach out to any of us on LinkedIn. Just look for anyone in Synthomer. You can reach out. I think Facebook. Was it Facebook? No.
LinkedIn.
Yeah.
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
Facebook is okay as well.
Or Insta.
Okay. Yeah. So just send us a message, and you should be able to ask more about more about the program, what you can be looking forward to, and we should be able to share more more of our experiences with you. And I'm sure everyone here is really happy to share the experiences with you as well.
Yeah. I mean, before I started the assessment, I reached out to Jack on LinkedIn, and he was super willing to help and super helpful with all his advices and tips. So we'd be more than happy to continue the goodwill.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. I would like to thank everyone for sharing your journey in Synthomer. I'm sure that will be a valuable sharing stories to those who are interested to join us. Yes, as what they said, please connect us with our company's page in LinkedIn and watch our space as we will open the application for the program soon. All right, thank you. And if you have any questions, please drop your question now so we can answer your question after the break. And we'll see you soon. Bye. Welcome back. Okay, now we receive a lot of questions here. So for those of the questions that we were not able to answer now, please reach out to us. So there are a few questions that I'm gonna read out, and I'm not gonna answer all the questions. I'll get all these four fine ladies and gentlemen to help to also add in. Yeah. So he says here, hi all, I would like to know what are the departments that graduate trainee would be rotating in the 2 years period. Thank you. So it depends on which track you are. If you are in the operations track, then a different department. If you are in procurement or in finance, that different department. So let's hear from maybe from Jack. You are from operation earlier.
Yeah. So I think the rotations really depends on business needs as well. So, but rest assured, you will be rotated within 4 different departments or more throughout the whole 2 years program. So, right now I'm looking, say, you have projects, because in uni you don't actually realize how vast operations track can be. So there's projects, there's operations, there's production, there's planning, there's maintenance, there is commissioning, there's operations improvement, there's like analytical, blah, 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 blah. There's a lot to learn. So actually, don't worry too much about where you'll be, because you'll be judged, as Sengwee had said before, it's actually tailored to you in the end, according to the business needs as well, but mostly it's fitting what your strengths are once you start the second rotation.
Yeah, okay, so that's from operations.
That's from operations.
Verda is from finance.
Right, finance. So far, right now I'm in my second rotation. The first rotation was within the accounts payable department, and then right now I'm with my the financial accountants, the FI. And the next one, I think it's going to be costing. So that will be with the business analyst. And then the final one, I think they're still not too sure what they want to, put me in just yet. But I think it might be either treasury, or there's also, talks about just maybe touch and go of procurement as well.
Yeah. As Jack said, it depends on the business needs. So sometimes that we can plan, but the business needs tells different things. So, and procurement also, you want to share the...
Yep, sure. So within procurement as well, because my track is procurement/commercial, so within procurement, you'll be rotating from direct procurement to indirect procurement. And then you also get a little bit of exposure to commercial, in which you'll be in sales and marketing. But for me personally, I didn't get to experience sales, so I was a lot in marketing. So within my first year, it will be procurement and marketing. Next year, in the works, is that I'll be more towards the functional excellence and also handling with direct materials. But the whole idea of this track, the whole idea behind the track rotation is to give me a full overview of the sourcing side, which is procurement, and also the supply side, which is the sales and marketing. So that's what you will get to experience within the procurement/commercial role, I would say.
Sengwee has a different experience also, because even though it's operations. So what's your track then?
Can I just say that I know that we from ourselves chemical company, but can I just say mechanical engineers, never fear, you always have a place. From what my point of view is, we have a few special projects that came onto our program as well, and I was actually engaged to take on those projects. So yes, as what Jack previously mentioned, we have a lot of related to operation kind of roles, but if there's a special project that came up, we might be engaged according to like basically our strength, as well as mentioned business needs. So I think in my rotation, I kind of went through 2 special projects more or less. Yeah, so I think that was a very good experience for us as well.
Good. Yeah. All right. So what you can see here, even though it's the operation track, there are different rotations that we place the talent. Yeah. Okay. We have here during the graduate program. How can we stand out from the others? Obviously, Synthomer graduate program trainee is already stand out from the rest because there's thousands of applications and there's a rigorous selection process. And when they are being selected, they're already being standing out. But I guess the opportunity that given to them makes them stand out more and to build their confidence. As what you learned earlier is what they being shocked and having stress and then on it and then build the confidence. Do you want anyone want to add? No?
I think in general, just be yourself because your own. Keep learning and being yourself because your own strengths will actually show through. There is no best person for a job. There's a best job for you. So because not everyone can be the best engineer here, even though you guys are not engineers, but yeah, you get the point. But everyone has their own strength and everyone will have a role they fit well into. So from my previous manager as well, you don't have to actually differentiate yourself because being yourself is already differentiating yourself. Yeah.
Good. Okay, I have a question here. If you guys can recap, what are some memorable moments or maybe the one that you never expected throughout the program that happened to you? So
I think for me, it's the board of directors thing also. we got the same shock. Yeah.
The Synthomer board of directors, yeah, I know they came all the way for one of the expansion project and they thought that maybe it's a good exposure for them to present to them. Of course, I can still remember Jack's face when I told them that the board directors are coming, so please
get something
prepare.
done. Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's another question. Hi, thank you to Synthomer and Graduan for conducting this session. I would like to ask, how would Synthomer panelists choose their graduate trainees? Is there any specific requirement and value you are seeking within the graduates? I must say that there's a rigorous selection process. So maybe you can share your experience in the selection process.
Your memories are more fresh. So
yes, let's say from Jada and Doreen.
I was long time ago.
Generally, I think there are 3 main stages. The first one, let's call them the resume submission as well. So 4 stages. You submit your resume, and then the second one is you'll be eligible for an online test. So during the online test, you'll be tested on your mathematical skills, logical reasoning, comprehension, and whatnot. And then if you pass that step, I guess another filtering process is a phone interview. That is the last one before the real life interview, which is the assessment center day. So I'm not sure how much detail I can share about the assessment center day, but the assessment center day is a 1 full day assessment, and you'll go through a number of different set of assessment that will assess you on your interview skills, your teamwork skills, many different parts of assessment to see if you are really the best fit for the company and also the program. So yeah, what Jack said, just be yourself, because at the end of the day, what was your quote? There's no best person for the job, there's a best job for the person.
So I think you can say that there are tons of information online regarding assessment centers, as well as test trials that you can actually conduct on yourself, as well as just read as much about the company that you can do. We have a website, LinkedIn, everything, just search our information on it. Just throwing in another phrase, there's no one being close to perfection, but you can get as close as you can to it to be prepared for that day itself. So I think that is what you can be prepared for every single interview, as well as the assessment center itself.
Right. Don't worry, because on that day itself, we are there. I think all the Synthomer graduate, we purposely put them there for you, for the shortlisted candidates to learn more about the assessment on that day.
You get to meet us.
All right, here's another question, interesting question. To the panelists, since the graduates who join the program will work with all colleagues in various levels, how do you guys kickstart your day and break every dilemma, especially in the group work?
Good question.
I mean, first thing, being shy, let's just put it out the question, because if you're afraid to ask, you won't get the information you want,
Correct.
especially,
That's right.
and previously mentioned, communication itself is key, because if you don't say anything out loud, people won't know, like we are not mind readers. But communication itself is very important, like how you approach a question, how you want to actually approach maybe your senior or maybe your manager, things like that. That itself is very important, the method on how you want to approach, as well as how prepared you are. Are you just asking a question, or are you actually breaking down a situation to them? I think that mindset itself will be like kind of what you will go through throughout the program itself. That's like kind of the development we can get as well. Yeah.
Okay, so this is an easy question. I would like to ask, when will the commencement date for the next Synthomer Asian Graduate Program? Our commencement date is always 1st of January. For those of you being in Kuala Lumpur, 1st of January is a holiday, but we will still, carry out your appointment still be on the 1st of January. So the second question is, how many stages are there in the selection process? I think Nurin has answered that. On the selection process, right? Okay, so okay, there's another interesting question. Since there are other companies doing graduate program, agree. Can you let us know what makes the Synthomer graduate program is different from other companies? Maybe listening from them would be a better, it's better, because better view, because you can compare with others.
We are Synthomer, that's it.
Yeah, so from hearing other experiences of graduate programs, I think one of the advantage of Synthomer is that we are the first batch. Me and Singyi was the first batch, and that was 3 years ago. So they were the third batch. We have a second batch as well. So everything is fairly new, and everything is still kind of flexible. And it hasn't streamlined to a very dull, structured program like some other companies, especially banks. So from what I've heard from other companies, from other management trainees, they are actually very structured. Sometimes they are not given enough work or slightly less meaningful work. I don't think it's as meaningful as me juggling a $10 million project and you juggling the whole, exactly, the VCP was like mad. So yeah, I think that actually pushes us up on the development side of things, where we actually get to experience and take responsibilities for our actions. Like, oh, if you did something good, it's really because of you. It's not because your manager actually helped you with this. Sure, there is support, but it's it's fruits of your labor, basically. So I think that is what really differentiates the whole program with the others outside.
If I may add, the thing compared to some graduate training programs is that there's only 3 or 4 recruits every single year. A lot of other graduate programs, they hire many at the same time.
Right.
So as a result, you may not get that one-on-one exposure with your top level management. You may not get that close relationship with your managers. So for me, I was the only one in procurement. So I get like special, but I get like a closer relationship with not only my director, but also my senior level management. So I don't think this is something that's a common thing in a lot of the graduate programs. As I said, usually they hire in bulk, whereas for this one, it's 3 to 4 every year. So that close contact is definitely a big plus and a big thing that separates this graduate program from others.
Yeah, as you can see, we already presented to the board of directors. We met the CEO. We've met, we had like quarterly updates with our president and operations director. Every person up there is like, exactly.
There's only so little of you.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think the tailor-made itself, it doesn't come easy. I mean, with if you are recruiting in bulk, So I mean, the tailor-made is what we can really observe. I would say, which plays to our strengths.
Yeah,
Exactly.
correct.
All right, good. Okay, now there's a question here. These people must be very interested, and I like it. Let's say person A and person B are both very similar in terms of academy and co-curricular. What are the wow factors that make the person different than others? and the applicants are a lot, and there must be one unique characteristic that catch the eye of the recruiters. I guess, okay, coming from HR,
Going from HR.
there's thousands of applications and therefore we are very much, there's a stringent selection process, and therefore when, what's important is for you to be yourself, and what's important, if you can get through, even if you can get through the stage 3, I must congratulate you, because the screening process is quite very rigorous, and the last stage is where we really see face to face, and all the directors will be there, and again, this is how you perform during the interview. How do you demonstrate? How do you express yourself? So that's how we. There's no. It's not a rocket science that how we select, but and when we select, it also not one person selection, but it's also a collective decision.
Correct.
Yeah, because one person, it's not only, like for example, procurement, Nurin, even though Nurin, it's not the procurement director who select, but it comes from the operations director, myself, procurement director, and all. So it's a collective decision making. Okay, so I don't think that we have much time, so I can have one more question here. What kind of activities do employees engagement conducted in the organization together, both graduate, trainee, and senior level employees? Wow, we don't need activities basically. You meet them almost every day.
Exactly.
It's accessible to them.
Your work itself is
like a
your
flat
work
organization.
because exactly. We trust you, and you can see that we even trust them to handle $1 million project, to present to the board of directors. So the exposure that we have here, and we also have a lot of engagement activities. All of them here are in this year annual get together, program event, and there's a lot of exciting activities and engagement in the company. Okay. So all right. So I think we have more questions here, but unfortunately the time is limited. But as I mentioned to you, can reach out to us at any time. And we can always answer your question through a different platform. So watch out the space. We're gonna advertise about Synthomer graduate program. So do apply, and if you want some more tips, if you think that the tips that they're given is not enough, reach out more, and we'll be glad to assist. All right.
That's right.
So. So until we meet again, so hopefully, and one of you who are the audience here will be part of the team. So who knows, next year you will be here in explaining your journey for Synthomer Graduate Asian Program. Okay.
That's right.
So thank you very much. Assalamualaikum. Salam sejahtera. May we see you again. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.